believe I am authentic, mostly because I have a really hard time lying. If I ever did try to lie to you, you would be able to see it on my face right away. Maybe it comes off as a little naive as well. I think I'm tenacious. I push and I push and I push, and I won't give up. It's not easy for me to give up because I understand the place of failure in our lives.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth J. Cron. I'm a producer, actress, and international beauty queen. I love meeting new people and helping them to achieve all their goals.
My story began in Allentown, Pennsylvania in 1987. My mom was 41 years old when she got pregnant with me, and I came into the world wanting to perform. At 3 years old, I started to dance. So before I even got into school, I knew that I loved to perform. I went to a Catholic school for kindergarten through 8th grade, so my first 9 years of schooling was in a Catholic school. And in that time, I also started exploring with music. I played clarinet, I started acting, of course I was dancing in the talent shows, all of those things. By the time I got to high school, I decided I wanted to really expand into theater and stage performance because I love dancing so much. And that's when I really started acting. I spent all my time in the black box theater. I didn't even take lunch in the cafeteria. I just ate with my theater teachers and my theater mates and colleagues. And that was my life. I love it, and I knew that I wanted to be a performer when I grew up. I follow my dream with tenacity and a little bit of I'll show you. My father was a Taurus, so he was very much a bull, very strong-headed. My mom, the Libra, all about balance. So for me, I actually joke, I say I thank all my ex-boyfriends for telling me I couldn't do it because that's what motivated me to go show them. No, I think I will. And I think I really got that stubbornness from my father, who would kind of go headstrong into things. And so I said, I feel this. I feel this in my core. I know what I'm doing is not only making me happy, but it's giving back to the world. It's giving back to people. And I truly believe that if you really embrace who you are, only you can offer that to the world. And it's important that we embrace who we are because no one else is going to be able to do it like we can. And it's important that we all show up that way. Theater was first for me in high school. So 9th grade, I went from a little Catholic school with 26 people in my class into a high school with 2,600 people in the entire school. So I think my graduating class had 700 people, something like that. It was huge. And so I also used theater as a place to hide as much as I used theater as a place to explore and let myself shine because it was such a close-knit community. The rest of the school was kind of overwhelming with so many people. So when I got to high school, I started doing 3 shows a year. We did a straight play with no music, anything like that. Then we did a children's show in winter, and then we did a spring musical. The most well-known shows, I would say, are the musicals that I did in high school. My first year, I did Grease, and I was just in the background, I was just dancing, but it was a great introduction, I think, to musical theater for me. My second year, we did Fiddler on the Roof, and this year, I was actually a bottle dancer, which was a really interesting experience because I think there were 5 or 6 of us as bottle dancers, and each of us decided to handle the bottle situation in a different way. So I said, no theatrical tricks here. I'm going to really balance this bottle on my head and do the dance. And so I rehearsed, you know, got the bottle straight and on my head. And then someone drained out some of the water. So I didn't have it totally filled with water. It was a painted plastic bottle. I didn't have it totally filled with water because that would be too heavy. It would fall off right away. Also, same thing, if it was empty, it would fall off right away. So there was a certain amount, maybe about this much in the bottle, that was the appropriate amount that I could maintain the balance for the whole song. And you're going up and down, standing and kneeling and, you know, crawling on the floor with this bottle on your head. And I remember I got out there and I realized the bottle was different, and it fell off within, I don't know, maybe the first 2 lines of the song. I finished the song and I ran outside of the high school auditorium, and it was a huge high school. Imagine like a full city block here. I ran all the way around the school because I was so upset with myself that I had dropped this bottle. It's such a vivid memory for me. As a profession, it took me a really long time to get into theater. There weren't a lot of opportunities in Pennsylvania. I had been going back and forth to New York. Allentown, Pennsylvania is about an 1.5-hour drive away from New York City. So in high school, we would take trips into New York to see Broadway shows. And I always thought, oh, I'm gonna move to New York. Maybe I'll go to school, maybe I'll go to university in New York. But really, I had my sights set on just going into auditions and work. And then everything changed in my sophomore year of high school, again around when I was 15 years old. I went and I visited my aunt in Los Angeles. She worked in commercials at the time. And I went to Los Angeles and I fell so in love. I remember being on the way back to the airport, leaving Los Angeles, crying in the backseat of the car, apologizing to New York City, saying, I'm sorry, New York, I can't move to you. I have to move to Los Angeles. So during that high school period, I knew I was either going to New York first, and then my sights got redirected into Los Angeles, where eventually I ended up moving to pursue acting. I got my associates in Pennsylvania, and that was just in humanities. I actually focused a little bit on psychology. I love the interworkings of people, as well as anthropology. And so after I finished that 2-year degree, I moved to Los Angeles to pursue acting in film. Didn't go so good. There's a lot of people out there and it is hard. And this was about 15 years ago. So all those things that you hear about being a woman, going into auditions, all those things are true. And it's hard to kind of pinpoint different experiences. But being a woman and being alone and being a woman that appears young, and I was young at that time, I was 21 years old. A lot of situations came up where people tried to take advantage of me, but I pushed through. I established my residency in California and I went back to school as a continuing student. I pursued a dance degree, first at a community college to get all the credits together to eventually transfer over to the university where I studied for theater and dance. I got a concentration in dance, a bachelor's. And then from there, I just kept performing. That's the thing. I did theater in school, in high school. I did theater in the college where I did the associates. I did theater and dance in the college that I went for my theater degree, of course. But it wasn't until studying at the California University of Los Angeles that I began to learn about that other side that I tapped into all those years ago when I was assistant directing. There I started learning carpentry skills, electrician skills, behind the stage, building the set, lighting the set, as well as management, stage management, and assistant directing and things like that. That's when I really started to discover, wow, I have 2 sides of a brain. Like really, really. I have the performance side and I have the production side. Growing up, we always used to watch Miss Universe, and I don't think we did it on purpose. I think it was one of those we're scrolling through the TV and boom, Miss Universe, or boom, Miss USA, or boom, Miss America. And we would stop and watch it, similar to the Olympics. So this kind of sense of camaraderie, national pride, and athleticism all in one place just makes sense to me in my brain. Maybe that's going back to the performance and production side in the same place. So I got to Los Angeles and I was looking for jobs. I was looking for modeling jobs, acting jobs, whatever jobs I could find. And I was on Craigslist at the time. We don't really want to look for jobs on Craigslist anymore, but back then it was okay. And they were calling for participants in Miss California USA. And this was right when I got to Los Angeles, so 21 years old. I said, yeah, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And each year I saw the same ad every year, Miss California USA, casting, casting, casting. But it wasn't until I was 25 years old that I actually went and registered. I wasn't financially stable enough, one thing, and I just wasn't mentally prepared either. You know, they make you walk on stage in a bathing suit. So you gotta have a little bit of confidence for that. But I did it, and I remember being so nervous. I was most nervous for the bathing suit portion, and I did it. I did it. And now there's so many people these days who want to get rid of the bathing suit portion of competitions, but I have to admit, the bathing suit competition for me was what created that confidence, because it made me break through that barrier. I set the barrier on myself. I didn't want to be seen in a sexualized way. But at the same time, this is my body. This is my body and I should be proud of it. This is my tool, this is my resource. This is how I touch the world and the world touches me. I should be proud of that. And hey, I have a cute bathing suit. Maybe I want to wear it. So it was a great experience for me. It was a terrifying experience, but it's one that led me on a path through 20 different pageants to the point of actually winning the bathing suit competitions and being recognized for best in pageantry with my bathing suit walks. So it's something that really, really empowered me, though on the surface, it seems like it would do the opposite. When I first came to Romania, I started applying again to a lot of modeling jobs, and I was either never responded to or responded to in a way that told me I was too old and too short. You know, honestly, I don't even know what the height requirement is because I don't meet it. I just know that I don't meet it. I think it's in centimeters, maybe 165, I want to say, because I'm 158. And if my math is wrong, just to clarify, I'm 5'2". So I think, you know, you have to be around 5'6", 5'8" is typically what they target for runway modeling. Print modeling, not so much. But runway modeling, you have to have that height. All modeling, you have to have the youth, depending on the campaign, of course. So that was when I first got to Romania. That was in 2020. And I said to myself, if I'm being denied opportunities, even with my experience, even with my resume, my CV, my portfolio, if I'm being denied experiences, that means other women and girls in Romania are also being denied experiences, which is what I fought against in the United States when I was coming up. So I decided that I want to represent Romania, and I did so. I registered in 2020, but because of COVID, we went in 2021, and I competed at the Ms. World International pageant in Miami, Florida, and I won the title Miss World International 2021 while I was representing Romania. So that whole time I carried the Romanian flag with me, and I brought the crown back to Romania. In 2022, I registered to compete as International Ms. Romania, different system, different pageant. actually a pageant with a minimum age of 26 years old. And just this year, they eliminated this bikini competition that we were talking about. So it really is geared for more entrepreneurial, established, a little bit older women. So I went down to Orlando. No, that's not true. I went to New York. That's where we had the competition in 2022. And I won the title International Ms. 2022 while representing Romania. My favorite part of this story is I worked with a designer from Banat, actually in the Serbian side of Banat, but she used her old carpets from her grandmother to make these traditional costumes. And I chose, instead of wearing a white cocktail dress for the runway competition, I chose to wear a traditional costume, all in white. It was very, very beautiful for this runway competition. And I won. I won the runway competition. Not only that, but the next year, they added a national costume competition so that all of the delegates could bring their national costumes and represent the area that they're from. So that was the one that I won most recently, International Ms. 2022. And just about 2 months ago, I passed on that crown to the next year's title holders and kind of hoping to continue the legacy from there, from the outside, because I'm currently not competing, which is a strange thing for a pageant girl. Usually we finish with one and maybe we look at another system or what's next. And right now I'm kind of sitting back and helping people through coaching, and my eyes are set in the distance in becoming a director for Romanian preliminary pageants. So I can help send women from Romania, just like me, representing Romania, out into these international pageants to represent the country, because I do believe it should be represented on the international stage. In 2019, I had an engagement that broke off, and I decided I'm gonna do what I was gonna do before I met you, which was go backpacking through Europe. And so I came to Denmark, Sweden, Poland. I met a gentleman that was building a children's library outside of Timișoara. And we came up with this agreement. I'll come and help document the build of the library, and you'll help me with housing and food, kind of a trade situation like that. I wanted to come down all the way to Bulgaria, actually, because I had some film contacts. That was my goal, but I only made it as far as Romania, and I stopped in Romania and I stayed here. I loved it. I loved the people. I loved how welcoming it was and the opportunities that I had. And it's not just the opportunities, because there's not a lot of opportunities, but I want to say that I believe in Timișoara, there's an opportunity to create opportunities. And that's where my producer brain and heart really said, let's settle here to create these opportunities. So far, I've taken advantage of a couple opportunities with Unfold Motion and dancing with them, seeing the country. I've taken advantage of other opportunities in Bucharest, acting and things like that. The opportunities that I've created here are through my studio, CLP Studios, and Chronic Love Productions Europe. I decided to reincorporate my production studio that I had in Los Angeles right here in Timișoara, and I got this beautiful studio. And in the opening of the Capital of Culture, we hosted a weekend full of events. We had acting classes, modeling classes, we had a fashion show, we had a discussion on redefining beauty, we had an exhibition that also opened and a workshop. It was an incredible opening. And since that time, we've hosted a lot of dance classes, yoga classes, meditation retreats, more exhibitions. We've hosted a lot of different organizations, and we've actually hosted a concert right behind me on this balcony that everyone in Piazza Unite was able to come and enjoy. This is just the beginning of the opportunities that I hope to create here, because when I introduce pageantry to people in Romania, there's a lot of confusion about what that might mean, because in the past it's meant something very different. But what I want to do is ask everyone to leave those definitions, leave those experiences in the past, Because today we're talking about modern pageantry. Modern pageantry is platform-based. It's about personal development. It's about standing for something and yourself in power. Traditional pageantry is the one with all the restrictions, and you have to be this height and this age and this weight and this skin color and have this much money to do it. We're leaving traditional pageantry in the past. We're not calling it modeling. This has nothing to do with video chats. This has nothing to do with anything in that world. This has to do with women embracing their power and breaking through the barriers, whether those are barriers that society sets on them, we set on each other as women, or other people in our lives just don't show up with the amount of support that we need to maintain the kind of confidence it takes to walk with our heads held high. These are the opportunities that I'm hoping to create through Pageant Lab and these empowerment classes. And eventually, I hope to create pageants right here in Romania, right here in Timișoara, where Romanian women can come and use these skills that they're learning, earn the title Miss Romania, and represent that title internationally. I believe I am authentic, mostly because I have a really hard time lying. Like even little white lies, they make me cringe. If I ever did try to lie to you, you would be able to see it on my face right away. So I think maybe almost to a fault, I'm a little too honest. Maybe it comes off as a little naive as well, but honestly, I prefer being that kind of honest and naive than cynical. It's not either or, but I'd rather stay on that side of the spectrum. Beyond that, I think I'm tenacious. I push. Like we said earlier, I push and I push and I push, and I won't give up. It's not easy for me to give up because I understand the place of failure in our lives. So I have to walk that fine line of when's it time to call it quits, because I'll keep going. I'll keep going until I think I'm done. I think that's it. Authentic and tenacious.